Okay, here's the agenda at a quick glance. Okay, so we will just talk you through the cognitive services language and vision uh, in detail, and then the language and vision APIs, how we have used, and we will do a demonstration of how we can use those language APIs in a website and in a quicker way with minimal training, how we can establish and do a quick go-to-market. All right. Last but not the least, we will do the demonstration of the Vision APIs in a quick Power Platform app, which is being embedded into a website. All right. Yeah. Let's get started. Okay, we have heard of cognitive services language, right? That's the broader classification that Microsoft has provided us, and it has many features that's being provided. If you see, they have recently given out Immersive Reader, which is in preview state, but that's really great because it helps all people with all abilities. It encourages all people with all abilities to read. And what are the key features are like you give any text in your website or in your when you want to give out your response in a chatbot, you can implement this immersive reader, and in that text it will try to parse and it will try to suggest the grammar rules that are there, and then it will try to give you the photos for quick understanding of what that it is, and it has many other features. I'll just quickly show you a preview of that in the Microsoft site, which will help you understand what are the different features and when it's enabled, what is the difference in the reading. All right. Next, we will see the language understanding, the LUIS, where we would have seen this service from cognitive services being extensively used in chatbots, right? So what it helps us achieve, most of you would have already read through the highlights of LUIS. Basically, it is like it tries to add custom machine learning intelligence to a user's conversation. Like when you're doing a chatbot conversation, it tries to understand the actual intent from the phrases and sentences that you provide in a bot. Likewise, we have also, for our demo, we have tried to create a LUIS service, Lewis service, with some intents related to our COVID situation and how that can be quickly added to a website, which can be very much effective. Though we know information is there available in the internet, not everything can be brought in one place at a time for quick reference, right? How can that be done in a quicker fashion is what we'll see in our demo. Yeah, followed by that, we have the Q&A maker service available. If you see this service, yes, this goes hand in hand mostly with Lewis service, because Q&A maker is like you have some predefined set of data which you always wanted your cognitive service to be trained on, so that any queries to your website will be broadly on to those categories, right? If you have products or if you have any services, obviously they would not come and ask a question which is irrelevant. So as long as you train your model to your data, anyone who visits your website would be able to get the relevant information quickly. So Q&A maker gives you that ability to train the Q&A maker with your KB articles, be it in web or be it in the document format. All right, next we have the text analytics. Text analytics is the place where any phrase, be it in a bot, be it in any other Twitter comment or Facebook comment, that you always look into a handle and track it. And when you figure out the sentiment or the comment doesn't really give a good feedback for your company, then you can get back with some offers and with some acknowledgement, which would actually avoid that emotions being spread out widely, right? So text analytics gives you that power in hand, and we will show you a quick text analytics demo also as part of our standard website bot kind of a sample that we have in our hand. All right, last but not the least, we have the translated text. So you have a text, and if you see when you go and search in Google or be it in Bing, you have the translators. Similarly, if you wanted to give a translator, but translation you want to enable, but you don't have the website already having that capability, yes, you can use this API and provide this translator wherever it's needed. All right. I'll move on to the cognitive services vision. Um, and we will quickly have a look into what are the different services that are available, that the features that are being provided by Microsoft, and then we will deep dive into our specific demonstration. All right. Computer vision. If you see, this service provides you access with advanced algorithms for processing images and returning information, which means Microsoft has already trained this model to detect the various images, and it provides you some valuable information back in a JSON format, which you can parse and make use of it. That's the computer vision is all about. And custom vision. Yes, Microsoft has trained the models, but still, if you have any products which are not being identified but by that model, yes, the alternate option that you have is custom vision, wherein you can provide your products or any other images that your system has to learn and provide the valuable feedback to. Possibly an X-ray if you want to train, yes, you can do so with custom vision and some advanced machine learning algorithms that you can implement and provide so. All right. Let me move on to the face service. If you see the face service, yes, Priyanka has done an extensive and very valuable session before me. So I just skip it for the moment because she has already shared all those details. And next comes the form recognizer. Form recognizer, it's in preview mode. So basically, if you have an invoice or any other document in a predefined format, once your vendor scans that document and sends it to you, and you wanted to scan this and automatically get the data from that image, like what is the invoice number, what are the line items that were just delivered to you from that vendor, yes, you would use form recognizer. That this actually recognizes the part of the image which is being returned to you as a key value pair, or if it's in a table format, like what I told you, right? The line items that would be there in the invoice, which would be turned out as a tabular data, which can be stored in your RDBMS or any relational database that you have, and then you can process this data and utilize it to your own benefit. All right, ink recognizer is also in preview. This basically comes into picture wherever you wanted to process your handwritten text or shapes and get the data out of it. Okay. And finally, we have the video indexer. If you had a chance to look into the Ignite, there was a very good presentation about video indexer. When you record the video and then you provide it to the video indexer, it tries to identify the famous persons who were in that video, and also the key text and the other information which will be added as tags. And once you select any of them, you will be able to go to that part of the video, right? That's a great feature indeed. Think of a scenario where we have to build this sometime back, like 5 years or 10 years back. We would have quoted, like a minimum of year for that project, isn't it? But now with these APIs in place, to just give a quick turnaround time, you can build it in days. In fact, if you ask me, me and Manonmani, we just worked on it yesterday, and we were able to present you this static website today by calling the APIs and by using the sample codes. But still, it solves the need of the time. All right, so let me just demonstrate, just go through the demo flow, what we have planned for language API. If you see, we have used a web app since we have used a standard website in place of a web app. And then if you see, we are using a logic apps. from web app, whenever an input is being provided, it's being provided to logic apps, and that logic apps, which in turn calls Lewis service to understand the intent uh, for the input that was provided from the customer. All right. And then once it understands the intent, it also tries to do this text analytics. If at all there is any emergency or any other highlight for which we have to react, or we have to send some other email or so. All right. So understanding the intent, we actually provide some responses back to the UI, and also parallelly we do the text analytics. If the sentiment score is below 60%, right, we try to send an email acknowledging it, because for the demonstration scenario we have taken the COVID, wherein you try to go to the website of Ministry of Health, say, and then per se, right now all of us do not know, right, whether we can go and consult a doctor, or is it okay for this ailment I can just do a video or teleconsultation, right? We have all of this confusion going on in our mind, though we know we have Google, we have so many apps. Still, if MOH is able to provide us a suggestion in that matter, it will be of a great help to us. So we have just tried to attempt it at a very high level, like with some samples that we have, and I just leave it to Manonmani to just go ahead and explain this language API, what we've used, and how what are the intents that she has tried to train it in, and then she will show you a demonstration of that language API demo. All right, over to you, Manonmani.
Hi, Geeta. Thank you for sharing this details about cognitive services and very in-depth knowledge about it. And I will start explaining the demo that we have prepared together. And I will see. Am I in the presenter mode, Mohammed?
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay. So hold on. Okay, so yep, so this is the static website we have created just to show how the intents work, how we can connect the cognitive services with any existing application in hand. So this is not a great UI, just ignore the UI part. The idea here is to bring up intelligence to your existing application. It could be any like .NET, Python, or JavaScript, anything that can make a HTTP request will definitely be able to do a API call, right? So that's the concept we are trying to explain here. So now I'm going to just do some conversation with this bot. Okay. Greeting me, that's the intent here. Then next I'm interested to do some online consultation, as I'm just stuck at home now. So I'm coughing a lot. So it's asking me if like what other ailments do I have. Then I say a bit of fever. Then it will ask me like if I have any travel history for the vulnerable countries. So I'm gonna give Korea, yes. Then it's gonna bring me another question like another suggestion that I need to go for a hospital for a physical test. So this is the understanding of the intent, the prediction based on the user utterances. So behind the screen, I have the Lewis configured here. So I have configured the intents here for each of the intent. I have the key phrases and the utterances. So once the user keys in, it matches with this. So I'm doing all this just through a logic app. I'm calling the API through the logic app. It's pretty simple. And if you go to the review endpoint utterances, this is a self-learning model as well. So it picks up the utterances from the users, and as time goes on it keeps learning. So for example, if it is sad or if it is okay, it just understands it as like for example, if it is fever or cold, understands as COVID. Then if I feel it is right, then I will mark it as a right utterance, and if I mean right intent, and if I feel it's not right, for example, if it is sad, it is considering as yes, which is wrong, so I just delete the utterance here. So this is how we train the model on an ongoing basis. And similarly, I'm using the same sample here. For example, if I see thank you, it will ask me to, yep, so it'll ask me to, okay, it'll ask me to give me a review. Okay, it's not working. Okay, let me key in some sentiments like I'm sick today, I'm sick today. Is a negative sentiment, right? It's not really something happy about being sick. So if you see the sentiment score here, it's captured here, and we're just showing like other positive, negatives, and this tolerance level could be set by your organization. For example, according to me, I have set the tolerance as 80 above will be positive, and something between 60 sorry 60 and 80 would be I mean medium, I mean neutral score, and anything below 60 would be like a negative score. So that's what it's explained in this API calls. So next, um, we have the computer vision. I will leave it to Geeta for explanation on it.
Yeah, thanks, Mano. Okay. So we will just see the basics, because as we understand the basics, core basics, even not to a great extent, still it helps us where to use, right? To identify where we can use the standard APIs that comes out of the box. If we are AI engineers, data scientists, yes, we need to understand, we can apply the mathematics, and we can come up with a great algorithm. If not, still we have so many SharePoint professionals, and in Microsoft we have so many allied you know uh, applications from which we will be able to utilize this API and still provide a lot of value to the customer. So we will understand how computer vision works. If you see, we have taken some slides from Ignite, which was very useful, from which we were able to understand it much better. So we thought it would be of great use to the local community here as well. So here you go. Brandon Rohrer has created a very good blog on this, and if you want, you can just go to the blog site and you can just have read through it. That will be a great, that will give you a great understanding of it. All right. So if you see computer vision, right, you supply an image, you provide an image, and then that image is being divided into small images for to have a deep learning. It when we say deep learning, the deep doesn't mean profound, right? It what it does, it just simply converts the image through the filters, and then it divides it into smaller portions from which it can make a decision out of it. So if you see this number of layers, right, we have just got 4 or 5 layers here. It's a very minimal thing, but if you see our eye, it would apply hundreds and thousands of layers to process every image that we see every moment, because it has to understand many objects that comes in the way, right? So here is a simple example of the neural network, which comes into picture, because neural network forms the basis of AI. So it is important for us to understand how the neural network might work. So once you provide the image, meaning it simplifies and applies a filter, divides it into smaller images in each layer. When I say each layer, if you see each of this round, right, you can consider that as a node, and at each node it gets converted into smaller images. And finally, at the end of every layer, what it tries to do is it tries to combine the images from the previous layer, and then it tries to do this until it reaches a 1 pixel size. All right, so let's move ahead. If you see how the training would happen, like you supply the image of a bicycle. So you have many other objects in this, but if you want to train just to identify the bicycle in it, then out of this 4 layers, you would be able to get that 0.83, which is a more confident score for bicycle than for any other objects that you might have. So when you have a predefined set of objects only, which has to be identified from the provided images, then it is good to go with the APIs that we have, and with the pre-trained models that we have, we can readily go and utilize them. All right, let's move on. Here is an example of a simple X image, okay, and that's being divided into this grid. And if you see, a portion of it is being selected. In this grid, it gets, what it does is internally it multiplies the 1 and minus 1, and then it tries to arrive at the grid that is the outcome of it, and then it tries to apply this logic and then tries to arrive what is that value or the confidence score that it can reply with. All right, whereas in the case of this middle 3 by 3 grid, right, when you try to apply the same logic of multiplying this 1 cross 1, you get 1, and minus 1 cross minus 1, it gets 1. Okay, for a better understanding, what it tries to do is it gets that particular image and then it tries to split it. If you see, the outer layer will always not be considered, and then it tries to start taking it from this layer. Okay, it tries to sweeps across all of these individual lines in the grid and tries to take that 3 by 3 grid at the end, and then it tries to come up with a score. Okay, so this is how we train the image classifier. So at each node, it tries to it tries to actually break that image and then comes up with a weight, right? When we have to think of training your model with many objects, you might need to identify the right weight for your image. For the pre-trained models, Microsoft has taken the pain of training it with all the sample images and identifying the right weight and identifying the right algorithm for the same. So with that being said, let's get into and see how the pre-trained convolutional NN logic works. Okay, when we say pre-trained convolutional, it means that it applies the filter at each node, right? Like how your Instagram filter might work. Your Instagram filter tries to apply the filter on your image, and then it tries to add a bunny ears or maybe goggles to your eyes, which means it identifies the features that are available in the image, and then at the appropriate place, it tries to add some other object on top of it, right? It transforms your image at the end of the filter. But whereas over here in neural network, it tries to do something different, wherein it tries to understand and identify the object and tries to give you the confidence score. All right. So I will just hand it over to Manonmani so that she can just show you the computer vision demonstration, and then she will continue and show you when an object is not being identified by the computer vision, what is the next step that we can do and how we can train the model to just identify your own objects in a quick span of time, and how you can embed that into your own website. Over to you, Manonmani.
Yep. Thanks, Geeta. So let me share my screen again. Okay. Okay, so this is the computer vision service that's available from Microsoft. We can use as a sample to try our images. So in the previous session from Priyanka, we have learned how to tag these images. So I'm not going to go into the details of this again because she has very well explained how to draw a rectangle, bring the object properties, everything. So let me just quickly show what is not possible with this computer vision and how we can rectify that using a custom model. So this is a pre-built computer vision model, and I have uploaded this image. So my expectation is, okay, first of all, this image is tagged as a headdress or helmet, but it could be a hat also. But what I'm expecting is, according to my device registration app, device ordering app, I'm expecting this to be classified as a hard hat, which is not possible with this pre-built custom vision model. So let's see how we can give our own classification for the pre-built AI models from Microsoft. let me just show you the demo here. So yep, so we're going to use transfer learning to adapt these computer vision models and come up with our own custom vision models. As Geeta explained, your image goes into a different layers. It could be like this is just a toy network we have shown, but it could be like dozens or hundreds of layers. It would be in real time going. So if you notice in this image, the lastmost layer, the in-depth layer, is actually stripped off from this neural network that identified the object exactly as bicycle or tennis ball or whatever. But that layer is stripped off from this network, and we are just focusing on the features. For example, when the image passes through these layers, it will just break into smaller data points, and we just we just observe the features, and finally we arrive into a conclusion that it is a tennis ball or it is a hat. But in this transfer learning process, we are just sticking to the features alone, just one layer before, and then we train it with our own images. For example, if I pass the hammer, it will use the knowledge it has gained, the learning it has gained according to the previous training, and it will arrive with some features. So when it does when it splits and combines the features, it will come up with a scoring like for somewhere between 0 and 1. So the more towards 1, then we consider it as a hammer. And similarly, if you give hard hat, the same process happens. And now this time, according to the training it has done earlier, it defines it to be a hard hat. So this is the concept we're going to apply in the computer vision models. So if in this image, if you see, it's not exactly saying it's a hammer or a hard hat, because from the features it has identified earlier, it is now probably it says it's more towards the hard hat, but it could be hammer as well. So the prediction is like not exact. So I'm going to give you a demo of the custom vision now. Okay, so this again, this is the Azure Microsoft provided website for us to do our training, but we have done it in our Power Platform. I will show you how we have done it. So in Power Platform, we have the AI builder, and we build models here. Like you can build your own models. It's like turnkey solutions available as part of our platform, and we just use this object detection. You could use form processing. We do have entity extraction, prediction, text classification as well, and these are all the pre-built ones. Business card reader, language detection, sentiment analysis, entity extraction, key phrase, and text recognition. These couldn't be trained further. These are the pre-built APIs, the computer vision APIs available within the Power Platform itself. And here are the custom vision models available for us to do our own training. So I have trained one such model for object detection, and I have
just a moment. Just to add to what Manu was saying, right? Usually you have cognitive services, and if you have very complex algorithms to do so, yes, that is the right way of doing it. But if at all you wanted to go to market quickly, and you know very well the predefined models help you just by training your own custom objects or the predefined model what Microsoft provides in the API itself. Yes, this is a good place to start with, and just embed it into your existing website or so. So if you see all of these AI builder options in Power Apps, in turn utilizes the cognitive services, but you can just consider this as a packaged version. So if you see Power Apps or Biz Apps for that matter, all of that lies on Azure. So the platform is Azure, on which it has been provided as either SaaS or a PaaS. So this option that you see, the AI builder, these are packaged cognitive services available for you to readily use in your apps and embed it and just straight away extend it as your own mobile app or extend it in your existing website. Yeah, over to you, Manu. Thanks.
Yep. So this one, it's loading now. Okay, let me show you my website. So I have trained one of the models and we have used it in our Power App. This is a device ordering app. So my idea is here is to like upload a image. Like for example, the field technician doesn't know what exactly the product is. So he doesn't have that much of knowledge to understand the technical terms. So he can just click a photo and upload here and it will give him the products for ordering within this internal systems. For example, if I just go to the pliers, it will search products for pliers. Yes, so if I go for hard hat, in the previous example for the computer vision, we were not able to identify this as a hard hat. Instead, it was a headrest, but now it's identifying as a hard hat. I have just left it as is so that we can just understand that it is detecting as we expected. Yep, so that's pretty much what we wanted to show today. And yeah, as Geeta mentioned, we don't really use this for I mean, if you have idea, I mean, if you have idea of doing looking for, if you're looking for a digital transformation and if you want to start your AI journey, you don't really have to invest much on developing or into doing deep learning and all. You can just quick start with this pre-built APIs and evaluate if your data is like good enough for your AI journey. Then you can move on to the next level by getting more advanced level learning. Yeah, over to you, Geeta.
Yeah, Manu. I will just quickly show you the demonstration which I already just talked to you about. The immersive reading in the beginning on the text analytics. So if you see, this is the immersive reader that you have. And if you go to text preference, right, if you have people with different abilities and maybe they wanted a bigger text and you wanted to increase the spacing, yes, this is the place where you can go and increase the text size and increase the spacing accordingly as per your text size. And if they wanted a different style of font, yes, you can apply. And some people will find it better to read in a black background, or some people would find it better to read in a white background, right? Also, if you have small kids who had to understand and grasp the grammar details in the text as well, then you can apply the syllable, wherein if you see, as I apply, it just tries to split the words into syllables, right? And if you want to identify your nouns, yes, you can do so. Verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. If you want to change the colors, because if kids with different abilities, then you had to be very careful about the colors that you choose. So you can just go ahead and change the color. And then if you want to show the labels, yes, you can show the labels as well, which means this will be on. If you do not want to, yes, this is how you can train with. Also, if you want to give a line focus for better focus for the kid to just be focused on the text or the line that they are currently reading, yes, you can do so. Last but not the least, you have the translation option also, whether you want to translate it word by word for better understanding or by document. And you have so many languages that are already being enabled. And here is a quick review of it. Yeah, that's a quick demonstration of the immersive reader that's in preview. Um, we would recommend that you just have a look at it, because day by day we are just increasing on our inclusivity ability in our apps, be it in our apps or be it in our mobile app. We are trying to be inclusive enough, right?
Geeta, this is Sanjeev here. Really quick, sorry to interrupt. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Sanjeev, I'm able to hear you.
This is absolutely fantastic. So is this like literally out of the box? We just go to that website up there and then this particular one for kids, with the syllables and then identifying, nouns, adjectives, all that.
Yeah, this is available readily in the Microsoft website itself. So if you want to try there, you can give your own words, and when you click on try free, it will come to the UI that you see in my screen. But if you want to embed in your website also, it's pretty easy. So once you embed this into your JavaScript or so, or into your Python code, what it does is it just opens this as an iframe on top of your page. As a pop-up, and then it tries to read it aloud. So if you want me, right?
Yeah.
So it just tries to read it aloud also for the kids or for the older generations that we might have at our home. So this is really easy and great feature that is in preview.
This is brilliant. Thank you very much for sharing. And if you could kindly, at the end of the presentation, just cut and paste the link in the chat one, would that be very kind, Geeta?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah. Any questions so far?
No, Geeta, not yet. Yeah.
All right, that's great. We have come towards the end of our demonstration. And if you have any queries, please feel free.
I have one, Geeta, actually, really quickly before Jiva, the next session from Jiva Rajan Kumar. You talked about Power Apps and AI Builder within that. Is there any kind of a forum where you would do more of these demos, any kind of, how do you say, meetups and such, where you talk about Power Apps and things of that nature?
Yeah, Sanjeev. In fact, we have a meetup next week that's coming up. So maybe we can just paste the link in the Teams so that everybody can utilize it, because I don't have it handy in the slide that I'm having it here. Or we can just ask Jiva also, because he's also one of the organizers.
Excellent. Thank you very much. But fantastic presentation. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah. Please feel free to provide your feedback, and thank you so much.
Thanks, Geeta. Thanks, Manu.
Thank you, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Please provide your feedback by scanning the QR code. So it will help us to improve the session. Our next speaker will be available in few minutes. Yeah.